Welcome to week 2, day 1. I hope your weekend was filled with nothing but growth. You've deeply gotten to know yourself and you think you're ready to start back dating. You've come a long way and I'm so proud of you. But before you jump out there, it's important that you self reflect. Oftentimes, hurt people and don't even realize it and then blame the other person when an issue arises. So let's dive into a pre first date self reflection. You ready? How aware are you of your traumas and suppressed emotions? And how have or are you actively working to heal them before you project them onto someone else? Listen, don't jump into another relationship without healing first, because doing so is the perfect way to sabotage what could have been a great love. If you're not healed enough, and I'll get into the enough part in a little, you won't be authentic and unapologetically you. Dating before healing will cause you to try to overplease because you want to be accepted by that person. And overpleasing will cause you to lose yourself and unravel the happiness that you've worked so hard on, which will then become how you measure your worth. So, if you feel like you're dating for validation rather than the genuine connection where trauma isn't taking the lead, then you're not ready. And it's okay. Now, healing is a process and one that honestly doesn't really end. And what nobody wants to tell you is that some of your healing can only be done while in a relationship. Now, before I dive deep into this, let me be very clear. I am not saying that you should jump into the dating realm if you haven't worked on yourself. But what I am saying is there is some healing that will only happen when you're actually in a healthy relationship. This is called relational healing, which indicates that because some wounds occur while you are in a relationship with others, and I'm not just talking about intimate relationships, it could be familiar relationships as well. But because they occur while you were in a relationship, those wounds can only be healed through relationships with others. For example, let's look at the whole cheating epidemic that we see in our culture. So, let's say in a previous relationship that you were in, it ended because they cheated on you. Now, I'm sure that betrayal that you felt during that time cut so deeply, especially if you've experienced incidents of betrayal or abandonment in your childhood or relationships before that one. The triggering of these old wounds being opened again is going to result in some trust issues when you try to make new connections with people. You'll notice yourself starting to grow suspicious of your partner's actions. And of course, in an attempt to protect yourself from getting hurt again, you'll start to show some controlling or aggressive behaviors. Because of what you've been through, it makes sense for you to behave in this manner. But of course, you should know by now that this isn't the best behavior to display. It can backfire, and you could actually lose somebody who really was trustworthy and who does really care for you. So, know that your behaviors are understandable, but there's a better way to express your fears and your needs. Now, if you have an empathetic partner who forgives you for those maladaptive behaviors and works with you to figure out how you can feel more supported in the relationship, this is what's called a healing relational experience. It rewires the brain and it teaches the brain that there is an alternative script for relationships. And guess what happens once this is done? Slowly, a scab will start to form on that emotional wound that's been open for so long. The more you encounter healing relational experiences like this, the more you'll become able to rewrite the narrative that your pain or your trauma falsely provided you. Without experiencing these new healthy experiences in relationships, it's very difficult to heal relational wounds, which in all actuality make up a big part of the pain we carry. So, having the opportunity to form safe and supportive relationships is not only great, but it's also a very important part of the healing process. These type of relationships give you the supportive space to work through your issues. Now, of course, this doesn't mean you can go around doing and saying whatever you want and then just expect to say, oh, that's just my trauma, and expect for somebody to just deal with it. Because of the whole, if you really cared about me, you would. I'm sorry, but these type of behaviors indicate that you're not healed enough. That's what I meant by the enough part. And when you're not healed enough, you're going to show up to the relationship in a way that's not supportive to the strength of the connection. So, the issue isn't that you haven't reached a point of healing, because again, who really has? The issue is that you haven't come to a place in your healing process where you're aware of how your past hurt is impacting you now and how it is subconsciously hurting others. Putting pressure on yourself to be healed quicker, it isn't helpful. You're not a light switch. What you should focus on instead is understanding what it looks like to progressively heal and hold yourself accountable for your actions and your behaviors. So, again, how aware are you of your traumas and suppressed emotions? And how have you or are you actively working to heal them before you project them onto someone else? I'm going to help you figure that out. Click the link, get your homework done, and I will see you for day 2 of week 2 tomorrow.